The road to Season 1 is ramping up for Arena Breakout Infinite. They have sat down their producer to talk about a bunch of community concerns in regards to things like cheater compensation, Tier 7 nerfs, and Season 1 updates. And since my last video, there has been a little bit of movement in the pay-to-win elements, and the fact that they are now offering a 1x2 container for free for everybody for the end of time if you log in within a certain time period and grab the reward from your inbox. Now, it's not even close to solving the issue that we have with this game in regards to their monetization strategy, which for the uninformed, you are allowed to buy in-game currency with real money, and the secure container that you find in a lot of these extraction shooters, or the gamma case, where basically you can stuff things in there, and then if you die in a raid, you don't lose those items. If you want anything higher than a 1x2, you can get like a 2x2, a 3x3. You have to subscribe on a monthly basis to get those, which is just some of the weirdest shit that I have seen in a video game. And honestly, up until yesterday, I haven't played the game since I dropped that video, but I saw that they had released this video talking with their producer. I wanted to give an update on where the game is at going into Season 1. So I jumped in with the boys, we jumped into a raid, I got some footage here you guys are seeing on screen, and I want to continue covering this game while still just being a huge proponent to remove the pay-to-win element, specifically now because we have even more monetization coming to the game. My name is BigFry, and I'm going to cover all of the Season 1 updates coming to Arena Breakout Infinite, so if you guys end up liking the video, leave a like on it and subscribe for more Arena Breakout content in the future. So I think the big piece of new content coming to the game is obviously their TV station map. You guys are seeing clips of it here. It's apparently a smaller map with a lot more focus on CQB. And we're also getting an expansion for the map Armory, which according to the producer includes things like a barn, a shooting range, as well as a field hospital. But yeah, the big piece of content coming to Season 1 is this new TV station map. It looks like we're getting 8 new weapons, and from what I can tell, those include the Vector, the H416, the MDR, as well as the TO3. And one of the new features they're introducing this year is called bankruptcy protection. So basically, if you run out of things in your stash, there is a protection measure that allows you to still be able to play the game. Now, I'm not quite sure what that protection looks like. They didn't really go into detail, but that's a pretty cool feature. And some of the bigger features that are coming to the game in Season 1, one of the big ones, which is a little surprising at this point, but we're getting female characters, which I remember a few years ago, a lot of people were pissed off at Tarkov because they didn't offer the choice to do female characters. And at the time, Tarkov and BSG's response was that it's tough to make a new character model and then make all of the gear fit that character model and make it look good. And they just didn't have the resources at the time to make that happen. Well, Arena Breakout Infinite is bringing female characters to the game. They're also bringing in a couple new game modes, one for Farm, one for Armory. Both of these are going to be called Assault. And in these clips here, you guys can also see that they're going to be introducing new weather effects. So there's going to be storms, there's going to be fogs, but what they wanted to do is slowly roll it out in its own event so that players can test it, give feedback on it. And I gotta say, man, like looking at these clips, I wish they had their monetization in order. I'm gonna talk about it in a little bit, but like this looks so fucking good. And I'll be honest, like outside of all of the bullshit with that monetization, it really makes me want to jump back in and play it. This looks incredible. I'm curious to see how the events are going to go for the community and if they're going to like them, but I think it's pretty fucking cool. And apparently one of the biggest questions that the community had was about the T7 thermals. Apparently when you jump into the Forbidden Zone, which is obviously the higher tier loot requirement, a lot of players are using these thermals, which people think are overpowered. So one thing the developers are doing is like, they believe that because it costs a lot to bring that into a raid, it's a very valuable item. If you lose it, like that's where it balances out. But what they're doing is they're not allowing you to actually put the T7s into a secure container to balance that out even more. If you bring it in and you die, you lose it. Which I'm curious to see what people are going to think about that, because you built this system where people can subscribe to a secure container, and like now people are actually putting real money towards it, but there are some items in the game that can't use it. It's a great balancing feature for sure, but I guarantee there's going to be some people that buy the secure container subscription and then realize that they can't actually put the T7s in, and they're going to complain. One of the big things they're introducing in Season 1 is cheater compensation. So If you die to a cheater, 2 days later, that cheater gets banned. If you were killed by that person, you will get your gear back in the mail, which I think is really, really cool. If I can give Arena Breakout Infinite credit on one thing, they are very transparent when it comes to their cheaters, how they ban them, how many they ban them, when they ban them, and they're very communicative on the stats for that. Their handling of cheaters in a game like this is honestly some of the best that I've seen. And I know cheaters is like a big point of contention. Every time I cover an online multiplayer game, scroll through the comments, you will see people complaining about cheaters. My recent Black Ops 6 video, there's people complaining that there's cheaters in that game already. Look, there are cheaters, hackers, and like exploiters and glitchers in every single popular multiplayer game on the fucking planet. You will never be able to get rid of cheaters, but the way that you combat them and deal with them really just shows people how dedicated you are to keeping the environment, I don't want to say a safe place to be a safe space, but if you just slap on an anti-cheat and call it a day and think that's going to be good, chances are your game is just going to get fucking roasted in reviews or whatever. I think Arena Breakout is actually doing it pretty well. Now, talking about the new monetization options, I don't want to talk more about the pay to win stuff. You guys know my thoughts on it. I think it's fucking trash. Season 1 is bringing in a ton of new things. So we're going to be getting cosmetics for weapons. You guys can see it here. I think they look really, really good, and this is the direction that I really wish this game would go. Get rid of the buying of currency, sell skins like this. They're also bringing in a Season 1 season shop, which comes with a new battle pass. It comes with new skins for your character and your weapons, and it comes with brand new rankings as well, which means we have battle passes. We have cosmetics for both your character and your weapons, on top of the purchasing of currency with real money, on top of subscribing for the Gamma secure containers on a monthly basis. It's getting a little out of hand, if I'm being honest with you, even though I think the game is actually really, really good. Even playing it the other day, I'm like, fuck. Like, this game is actually incredible, but I simply just disagree with now the amount of monetization options and the fact that we still have those pay to win elements within the game. But for those players who will just avoid all of the monetization at all costs, you are also getting free seasonal weapon skins, free weekly gear bundles, and like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, they do have that free permanent reinforced case. It is a 1x2. It's kind of irrelevant to the entire thing, but it is it's like a first step of a first step to getting rid of some of these complaints that people have. And like all told, I will say for a Season 1 update, new map, 8 new weapons, female characters, a bunch of different events, cheater compensation, and a bunch of new cosmetics for you to play. Like, I think it's actually a pretty impressive update. And I think for me, I know a lot of people are going to be asking, like, why am I even covering this in the first place after my last video? I think for me, Arena Breakout Infinite is going to be one of those games that it will never be the perfect shining example of a video game. It will have 90% of everything right, but that 10% that they do wrong, or that I at least think they do wrong, is a pretty significant problem that I just don't think I'm ever going to see eye to eye on with the developers and publishers. Their monetization strategy is their monetization strategy. I'm really curious about what's going to happen when this game comes to Steam. I haven't seen any mention of that. I thought that Season 1 was going to be the Steam launch. I don't quite know what the plan is for that, but I'm curious to see how the general public is going to respond to this game launching on Steam. I think the reviews are going to be pretty mixed. I think there's a lot of people that are kind of in the same boat as me, where it's like, we like the game, we like everything they're doing, but their monetization is terrible. There's obviously going to be people on both extremes where they'll defend everything or they just hate everything, whatever. I think that Season 1 is a pretty good update for a game that realistically, at the end of the day, costs you no money to play. My name is BigFry. Thank you guys for watching. This has been your Arena Breakout Infinite Season 1 recap. Leave a like on the video if you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one.